guys, Debbie here. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're a returning subscriber. And you might have noticed, if you are one of my long-term subscribers, that I've been pretty absent. It's been 3 weeks since I last filmed. So in this video we're going to have a bit of a chat about that and how I've been feeling, which hasn't been the greatest. There's nothing to worry about, nothing terrible has happened, but it's just life, isn't it? There's a few things to talk about. So in this video, we are going to be touching on the subject of mental health. If that is a turn off for you or if it's in any way triggering for you, absolutely get it. You can exit the video here. But I think I've kept things reasonably upbeat because I'm in a really good place right now. And I think sometimes when you then look back on things, you can have a new perspective on it. And I just wanted to share some of that with you in the interests of obviously just having a catch up with you, but transparency about things, and that it might help someone else that's maybe still in the midst of going through the sort of feelings that I've been having. So today we created a very sparkly look, the look I'm wearing right now. You might have noticed if you're a returning subscriber, finally got rid of those horrible grey roots, and I've had my hair coloured because the lockdown is starting to unlock in the UK, and so hair salons are reopened. Yes, that makes us feel better, just that alone. But I've also done, as I say, a super sparkly look, and the star of the show has been the Suva Beauty Magic Ecstasy palette. So if you want to see that one in action and just have a proper girly catch up with me, then just please keep on watching. Okay, so we're going to be filming a video for the first time in 3 weeks, and we're going to be putting on makeup for the first time in 3 weeks. I've not done any of those things, and I never intended it to be this long, so I'm going to have a bit of a chat with you about my absence and some of the just life related things. It'll be nice. We'll just have a nice little catch up, and it's not really going to be about the makeup so much, but I am going to tell you what I'm using. This is the Conceal and Hydrate foundation. Don't like it very much, just thought I might use it up for this or this type of video where I'm not going anywhere and it doesn't really matter how it looks. It's a little bit too, I don't know what the word is, not glowy, but it kind of almost breaks up on me. It doesn't have the most longevity, but I hate to throw product away and I want to get use out of it, so that's what we're going to do. So guys, how have you been? First of all, I just want to say, as I say, I never intended it to be this long that I was going to be away. I only film on the weekends, and so in effect I've only missed like filming for 2 weekends, but it just feels like so long. I hadn't realised it was that long ago. I had a look back like on my YouTube creator studio to have a look to see how long it had been. I was like, blimey, it has been a long time. It's been 3 weeks. So thank you for your patience if you're still subscribed. Really do appreciate that you're always there for me. I've had so many people reach out. I think 5 or 6 of you now have reached out saying, am I okay? Where am I? What am I up to? And I do appreciate you doing that so much, so thank you. And it kind of was the thing that gave me the kick up the butt to film again, because I think once I've gone more than about a week of not filming, then it becomes like a major deal to come back on camera and kind of explain where I've been and what's going on, and so I could either ignore that and just come on camera and just do a video, but I don't feel like that's authentic, and I feel like I need to kind of give you a little bit of a rundown of what's going on with me. But then it means delving into some things that I perhaps don't necessarily feel that comfortable sharing, but I think it might help other people if I do so. So we're going to talk about all sorts of things today. I'm going to go in with the Conceal and Hydrate concealer as well. So the main reason that I've been away has been work stress, and I think some of it is because we're isolated at home. I've been working from home now for 13 months, so well over a year, and just sitting in one corner of my lounge on my own all day. We have Skype and we can get in touch that way, but for a lot of the day don't see anyone, talk to anyone, and so you've kind of got that isolation, which none of us are used to. I think it seems like a wonderful thing, you know, working from home, and it is when it's a choice, you know, when you can do it because you want to for a particular reason on a day. But when it goes on for so many or so long, then it can be quite a challenge to kind of keep your spirits up and look after your mental health, I think. And also for the boss to see sort of how you're coping with the workload, because I don't like it ever to say that I've got too much on, and I feel like I'm failing if I do that, but I'd got too much on. More than one person could cope with, really. And I let this situation go on for far too long without telling anyone how I was feeling. So probably 4 or 5 weeks of literally like feeling dread in the pit of my stomach every time I thought about the thought of even going to work or logging into work. And came to a bit of a head where I just thought, I can't do this anymore. And so I decided to tell my boss how I was feeling, because it's always a gamble, isn't it? Because you don't know how you're going to be perceived if you're not coping. He was very understanding. In fact, he was like, why didn't you come to me sooner? And he took some of the workload away from me straight away, and he's been checking in with me to make sure I'm okay. And yeah, I just wish I told him sooner, because I've caused a lot of my stress for myself by not being honest with like how I was feeling about things. I think we all have a limit to what we can do. I don't cope great when I'm really stressed and I've got too much to do. Just using the KVD Vegan Beauty Powder, the original Kat Von D one, I've had about 3 years, because I like this powder a lot. I think it's brought into focus for me, like you can't like expect people to know how you're feeling unless you're honest about it. And you know, if you're in a position where, like, what happens to me is if I've got too much to do, and I told the boss a couple of times that I felt like I'd got too much on, and he was like, it's just a case of prioritisation. And then you feel some guilt that, like, I'm obviously not good at this, I can't prioritise because I'm still struggling. And so I kind of just left it. But I think I just become so ineffective when I'm like that, and I end up just like flitting from one task to another and just getting myself so stressed out. So yeah, so long story short, my work life is a lot more improved by having been honest about how I was feeling, and it's great to have a boss that's receptive to that and that was actually prepared to do something about it so that I didn't feel that way. I'm going to go in with some contour now. I'm going to go in with the Charisma Contour by Kaleidos. Use this one a lot. I like this one in Cool and Light. And my Structure Contour brush. And I think more than ever when working from home, or with what's been going on in the last year, I think it's more than ever important to look after yourself. It's like no one else is going to do it for you. You've got to look after your own mental health and recognise if you're struggling with your mental health, which for me, because I'm ancient and you know, times were different when I was growing up, and also, you know, I think it's a fairly new conversation that we're having where you can talk openly about not feeling so great. And it's great that that's the case. And I was thinking to myself, all those times that I've thought to myself, not another YouTuber talking about like mental health struggles, but I've changed my viewpoint on that so much in the last sort of few months, really, because I think we all have to look after our mental health in the same way as we do our physical health. And we have some times where we are feeling great, and that's brilliant. Just going to do my brows with the Linda Hallberg Infinity palette. You know, just as you do physically, you feel great sometimes and you feel a bit dodgy others. I think it's the same with your mental health, and I think it's something that you have to work on. And I think there's always a perceived weakness in talking about not feeling great with your mental health, whereas nobody would think that way if you said, you know, you had an illness or you weren't feeling great physically. And I think it's great that that conversation is changing. And I think now that when you've got a platform, however big or small, it is important to keep it real And I applaud anyone on YouTube now that is able to be open and honest, because if you're sitting there at home and you're not feeling the greatest and all you're seeing is everybody looking bouncy and happy, you might have the tendency to think that there's something wrong with you and why are you not coping. And you know, it's like the show reel of Instagram, isn't it, where everyone just posts everything that's wonderful about life but never post anything necessarily that's not going so well for them. And then it makes us all think that that's what everybody else, you know, that's the journey for everyone else, and like, why am I struggling so much with things? So it's something that interests me a lot as to why some people just sail through, and maybe they don't, you know, maybe they just don't tell anyone when they're not feeling so great and they hide it. I'm very much an open book, so everybody knows how I'm feeling. I'm probably the most honest person. Like, I could never come on camera if I'm not feeling great and be, hi, you know, this is this new makeup product. I just can't do it. I'm so transparent and I want to be honest with you guys. It wasn't that I didn't come on camera because I was feeling down. I think I could have done that. I just needed to just give myself some slack, I suppose, to just work through how I was feeling. So to give you a little bit of history of me and how my mental health is or has been. So throughout my life I've always suffered with OCD. Terrible, like double checking whether I've locked doors or locked the car properly, or I don't know what I think is going to happen, but I'm compelled to keep checking those same things. I think it's a learned behaviour because my mum used to do it and I saw her doing that as a child, and I kind of learnt that that was something to do. And I've always been a worrier. Like, if I've got something coming up that's a big deal for me, then I'll fret about it. But this was different. This work-related stress was just like omnipresent. It was like the feeling you have when you're going to the dentist, you know, that pit of the stomach kind of feeling, but just there all the time. It was the first feeling I felt when I woke up in the morning, and even if I was doing something enjoyable in the day, I still couldn't get rid of it. It was just horrible. I imagine that's anxiety, but I've never really understood the term anxiety and what people feel, or I imagine it's different for everybody. Never got to the stage where I had a panic attack or anything, but it was just this feeling of not being safe, of everything overwhelming me. And I recognised it straight away as like, I've got to do something about this and not let it consume me as such. So I hope by opening up a little bit and talking about how things have been for me, because I've alluded to it a little bit in the past, but it is something to do because I know that there's perhaps people that will watch me that know me. So I don't think there's many, to be honest, that watch me that know me, but I think it's harder if they know me in real life, because then the next time you see them, that what are they going to be thinking of you? But at the end of the day, like, we're all human, we all go through emotions, we all have, as I say, times when our physical health is great, we have times when our mental health is great, and vice versa. And it's just a case of recognising it and taking steps to do something about it. Kind of, for me, it was nipping it in the bud before it got too bad, I think. It's not too bad a brows day today. I'm taking a bit of time with them to fill them in. The last video I did, I sketched them out because I did my eyes first and I forgot to go back over them, and I had like barely any brows, so I'm making up for it today. So yeah, so that's kind of been it. And then at the weekends, because I was just so like drained by worrying about my work situation and just being busy as well, I just didn't want to pile anything else on my plate as such. And it's not like YouTube is stressful at all. It is quite enjoyable and creative process, but it is time consuming and it takes energy. And so the first weekend when I was just really just couldn't wait for the weekend, and I just felt like I just wanted to sleep, And then the second weekend, which was last weekend, it was beautiful weather and we just wanted to sit out in the garden. We had a bottle of like pink champagne in an ice bucket on ice. We had to have jumpers on because it was a little bit chilly. This is the UK in April, but it was beautiful sunshine and just to relax and just cut myself some slack. So that's what I've been doing over the last couple of weekends. And I wouldn't like to say I can promise to get back to a schedule of once a week, twice a week, whatever. I don't want to put that pressure on myself right now because I'm feeling good today. Let's see if I'm still feeling good tomorrow or how things go. But how I feel today, it's beautifully sunny in the UK and I'm just feeling really happy. So that's good. I'm going to use a blush now that I don't use very often. It's the Serafina by Juvia's Place. And I love this one. It's kind of got that peachy tone that I always gravitate towards more in the summer. So we're going to go quite heavy on the blush. Got a bit of a plan, but I just want to quote to you something that the wonderful Jane Wilkes said, who's becoming such a lovely friend and inspiration to me. If you don't follow her channel, I will link it. You need some Jane wisdom in your life, but she was talking about self-care, how important it is right now with the situation that we're in, and just like getting into nature because that really helps how you feel. But I left her a comment telling her how I'd been feeling because, as I said, I'm an open book, and I've written it down what she said because it was so inspirational. She said, work gives you the pounds to live but not the joy in actually living. Now, isn't that the truth? That really resonated with me. I was like, work is important, but so is the joy of life. And then she said, break out the glitter. So today, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm not known for glittery looks, but we're going to do some glitter today because I think it'd be fun and I wanted to do something frivolous and fun. So as always, I was coming out of my kind of funk anyway, but as always, Jane is so inspirational. So like, I always feel uplifted and cheered up whenever I've watched her videos, and that comment was typical Jane, like so wise, but so true. And it's stuff that you know already, but you just need reminding sometimes. Next up, I'm going to go in with highlight. I'm going to use Solar Sailor by Kaleidos. I don't know if they do this one anymore. It's really nice yellow gold. Kaleidos have got a new collection coming out, the Flower Punk. That one's not escaped my attention. I don't think I'm getting it in PR. I've not heard anything from them, which I normally hear in advance. It'll be the first time they haven't sent it to me, so I hope I didn't do anything wrong. I think they're really taking off now as a brand and I'm a small creator, so maybe that's it. But if I don't hear anything by the launch day, I probably will pick it up anyway because it looks beautiful. It's very Melt-esque actually. I don't know how they've gotten away with that, but one side of it looks very much like the Melt Gemini palette, but I'm all about those sort of tones, so the packaging looks gorgeous. That highlight though, you can't feel miserable when you're wearing that highlight. So pretty. It's too dark for my skin tone, but I love it anyway. I'm going to prime my eyes with the Soft Ochre Paint Pot by MAC. So one of the things that Jane was talking about in her video, as I say, was getting out into nature and the positivity that kind of brings to your mindset and just reconnecting with the world a little bit, because I think working from home and sitting in one corner of my lounge, sometimes not moving for 3 or 4 hours and seeing no one, you need that change of perspective. I mean, there was some days when I was really busy that I went for like 4 or 5 days, just literally just getting up, sitting around in jogging bottoms, but working, but not seeing anyone, not socialising on social media either, just everything was work and not leaving the house. Well, it's gonna take its toll on anyone, I think. So now I've decided to prioritise my walking again. I love walking. I'd love to start running again. My knees have been amazing. My toes all healed. There's no reason why I can't do it, but I want to take it slow this time because I always get injured. But I say taking it slow. I've been walking 5 to 6 miles first thing in the morning. Like, my husband's got a new job and he can walk to work. So I walk with him, which is about 2 miles. And then I take a bit of a detour on the way back and try to get between 5 and 6 miles in. And then in the evening after work, to make me finish at 4, because my hours are 8 till 4, he finishes at 4:30, so I walk down and meet him, and that's been working really well. So I'm getting about 8 miles a day walking in, and no ill effects on these old bones yet. So I think I might be able to start a little bit of a jogging kind of 0 to 5k. That's what I want to do, and get some of this lockdown weight down. Yeah, I'm 11 stone, but I'm 5'10", so I used to be about 9.5 stone. I was really happy at that weight. I'm kind of ashamed that I've let myself get to 11 stone. I think, as I say, a lot of that is just sitting around at home, and you've got access to the biscuit barrel, and whenever you're feeling a bit down, you can't help but dive in. But I've always been quite a fitness bunny. I'm not very good at dieting, so I know it's like 30% is exercise and the rest is diet, but I'm going to try and do it all mostly with exercise. I've been eating salads and salmon and healthier things as well, but I really want to get back into my fitness because it just elevates my mind so much more, like my mood and just my ability to cope with everything. Everything just seems different when I've had my quota of exercise. It's such a powerful thing for the mind. Right, today we're going to play with this, which is the Suva Beauty Magic Ecstasy palette. Now you might say, Debbie, what on earth did you buy this for? Because I don't like pressed glitter, and I've said this a number of times, and this palette's full of pressed glitter. Look, they're all pressed glitters. But because I don't have any pressed glitter, I think I've probably only got 1 or 2 in the odd Colourpop palette, and that is about it. I decided it might be useful to have some, and when I bought it I thought it might be the formula of the toppers that Suva do in the Hypercolour palette, which we're also going to play with, but it's not. It is pure glitter. I'm not going to put it on my eyelids because I'm terrified of doing that, so I'm going to kind of use it here, kind of on the outer parts of my eye, but I think it could look really pretty. But I just love the colours of the mattes as well, and I don't know what it is about Suva, they just attract me as a brand. The packaging's gorgeous, the colours inside are really, really pretty. So yeah, we're going to use that today and create some sort of pretty look with more the orange, purple and yellow. I think that's the plan. I had to change my battery, thought I'd turn the camera back on, and clearly I hadn't, so I've already got some eyeshadow on my eye. This is going so well. Right, so I'm going to use Metaphor in the inner and outer corners. We're going to do a halo eye. I'm going to use the shade Trance, a bit more towards the centre. I'm going to use one of the toppers out of the other palette, the Hypercolour palette, in the centre, and then I'm going to use the purpley shade on the lower lash line, and some glitter as well. Should be pretty. So I'm just going to take some time to build this up. It's almost like they're pastels. They're not the most pigmented in the world, but beautiful colour, so I think it'll be worth it. I take it up quite high because when I'm doing a halo eye, I like to make as much space as I can. And whilst I build all that up, I can carry on chatting to you, hopefully, because I'm not the best at chatting about important things and making up at the same time, but doing my best. Yeah, so I've talked a little bit about my fitness goals. So I've got a Garmin watch, and it tracks like your steps. I bought it because I was going to get back into running, but it's great for tracking walking steps as well. And there's some goals on there, and I've signed up for a couple of May goals. One of them in particular is to do 300,000 steps in the month of May, which means doing at least 10,000 a day, which I should smash it. I've been doing between 15 and 20,000 most days, but it's about being consistent though, and making myself like sign up to it, do you know what I mean? So making sure that I've got that commitment to doing something. And I like goals. I'm very goal driven in that way. I think that comes from being a runner in the past, where I was always trying to better my times for my like 5k or 10k. The best time I ever did a 5k in was 23 minutes 20, which seems incredible now. I think it would be about 32 minutes 20 now. But yeah, I used to do the odd kind of fun run kind of 5k. I was never in a running club at that time because I used to run with a couple of girls, but just run from work. I used to meet them at work and go running around our country parks that are near my place of work. But one of them was from Las Vegas, and her husband was stationed here for a while, and then she went back to Vegas, so didn't see her anymore. And then I just lost touch with the other one, and I just stopped running really because I just kept getting injured all the time. And for a while I had a personal trainer and I did the gym, but walking has been a joy actually. I mean, there's nothing quite like the buzz of running and the achievement of like getting a better time. I mean, the first time I managed to run a half marathon, which I did the Bedford half marathon, if you guys are in the UK you might know. It was organised by the Bedford Harriers, which was the running group that Paula Radcliffe used to run for. But yeah, I did that, and in 1 hour 58, which I was so proud of myself. And I've also done the Shine Walk, which is a marathon walk for charity through London at night, and that is a full marathon. That was hard. I had the blisters for weeks from that. It was actually harder doing that walk than doing the half marathon run, I think. Very, very hard on your joints, and I wanted to give up at various points, but I did it. I was 44 when I did that, and everyone kept telling me I was too old to do it, but that's just rubbish. You can do anything at any age if you put your mind to it. I truly believe that. So I don't know how I let myself like get so out of running and out of shape, because it definitely takes care of my, as I say, my physical health, but also my mental health too. It's a really good time to like process your thoughts when you're out walking or running. And Jane's right, connecting with nature is beautiful. There's a swan sitting on a nest down by our shopping centre. We've got like a lake by it, Rushden Lakes, and went to visit that this morning, and it just it brought me some joy just seeing that, and just seeing the birds flying and hearing them singing. And I've been listening to lots of podcasts, primarily on mental health, because it really does interest me at the moment, what makes the brain tick and why some people suffer more than others. Seeing the full blending process here, it takes me forever, even though I look like I don't do much blending. Alright, going in with Trance now, and I'm going to place that kind of towards the centre on each side. That one's nice, that's really pigmented. Might use that to blend around the edges of this Metaphor shade as well. Yeah, so I've always had an interest in sort of the brain and what makes us all different, what makes things tick. That's the sort of job I should have gone into, I think. But you know, your life takes the turn it does quite often. I've always valued security, I suppose, more over the things that I really wanted to do. But yeah, I love the Fearne Cotton Happy Place podcast. I'll leave, I don't know if I can link it, I don't know how to link a Spotify podcast, but I'll list all the ones I talk about. But she is such a good interviewer. She has guests on that I've never heard of, and ones that I have, because she's got quite a lot of friends from the industry. She used to be a DJ and presenter on a Top of the Pops programme, but she's so well researched. She asks such intelligent questions. She just gets the most out of people, and it's just made me realise, like, everybody that she's interviewing, they've all had struggles. They've all had times where like they've felt good or they've not felt so good, and they've got coping kind of techniques that they use to look after their mental health. Because the podcast is all about being happy, but it's like what makes people happy, what makes them ambitious, what makes them tick, I suppose. And I just love knowing that about people. And then the other one I love, but it's off air now, is the Phone a Friend podcast, which is George Ezra, who's a pop star from the UK. He's had a couple of albums, a singer. And his best friend from school, who I hadn't heard of before, called Ollie. And it's refreshing to hear guys, I mean, they're like 26, 27, but talking about their mental health struggles, like depression and anxiety, but also in such a funny way. They get on so well. And the thought that, like, if you suffer from any mental health problems that you're down all the time is just not true. You have times when you're laughing your head off and you're getting on great with life and everything's wonderful. And they've got such a great relationship with each other. But George has got a new album coming out and he's had to put the podcast on hold, so that's super exciting because feel invested in the process. I've listened to that podcast for a year now, but it's so entertaining. If you guys know of any others that I might enjoy, I'd love to know, because I love the Approachable podcast with Samantha Ravendale and her friend Alyssa. There's a few that I listen to, but that's the kind of thing that I like. People just talking about life and just feeling like you're kind of part of that. Alright, I think that's a pretty good foundation for the look, and it's looking really pretty. I'm going to do the lower lash line now, I think. And I'm going in with Curious to do that. It's such a pretty colour. I think I'm going to go in with a cream gel liner from Colourpop in my waterline. This one is, what is it? Boots. We're going to go in with Boots because it's similar-ish colour and I think it could look pretty. Can't talk when you're doing that. These cream gel liners are so good, so inexpensive, and they're just super pigmented, go on so well. Right, I want quite a blown out lower lash line with that colour. I'm not quite sure how pigmented it is, so I'm going to take it with a pencil brush first, kind of see what it's all about, and then blow it out after, I think. Yeah, it's a bit more pigmented, I think, than some of the other colours I've been using, but it's really pretty. So I'm just going to pack that colour on and then I'll blend it out after. And if you guys aren't into listening to podcasts, I highly recommend that you try one if you're somebody that likes walking and you're walking alone, because you can't think about other thoughts when you're kind of invested in listening to something like that, and so it gives you a bit of time off from your overthinking brain if you're like me and you've always got a million thoughts going on, and you just hear about so many interesting people's lives. The other thing that we're doing, which is super exciting, is planning to extend our garden. So last year we did all of our patio area just outside our back door. Blowing that colour out now because I really, as I say, just want to get a really blown out lower lash line, and I might use some of the blue, that unusual shade, a bit closer to the lash line just to really give us a bit of definition there. But I think this is such a pretty colour. So we did that last year, and it's made us, because we've had a messy garden for years, but neither of us are gardeners, and my father-in-law came over, he lives in the Isle of Wight, he came over for a week and did loads of work for us last June, and then he came again in September. He's an electrician, he put all outside power in for us. But we've got a kind of an L-shaped garden, and around the side it's just been a junkyard. It's where we put our bins and our washing line, and I've wanted to have a decking area there for the longest time. This year we're going to do it, so really excited. I've ordered a brand new shed because ours is falling apart. I've ordered the deck, and then I've ordered an outside bar, so that's super exciting. Just hope we get a decent enough summer to be able to use it, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to being able to sit out on that deck. We're gonna like personalise it as a bit of a rock bar because both of us like our metal. We've already bought like a couple of pieces that, you know, things that are gonna personalise it, and I've got a week off, or 2 weeks off actually, towards the end of June, so that's when that's happening. But we've been looking for bits of water features and plants and whatnot at weekends, and that's been good as well. As I say, I want to get a bit of blue into this look. Who am I? Why am I wanting blue in a look? What's going on? See, I have a couple of weeks off and I've become a whole different person. I just want to just stamp that just close to the lash line. I just think it'll add a little bit of another dimension. I'm liking these shadows so far. They're like deeper version of pastels. They're not like mega pigmented, but they blend really, really well. I think they go great over a white base actually. now I've laid that down, I'm just going to blend that into the pinky shade that we had there. I'm surprised how well it's sort of meshing in this outer corner. I thought it might not, but it's looking alright, I think. For the centre of my lids, I'm going to go in with one of the topper shades that's in this palette, which is the Hypercolour palette. They all look white in the pan, but there's one called Lemon Drop in here, and I'm going to use that. These really only work with your fingers. It's not my preferred application method, but we're going to do it anyway. But I do like these. They're a bit weird and unusual. They're so bright. I mean, they're a strange old texture. They've got glitter in them, but they're not like pressed glitter. They're just really good. As I say, there's a whole palette of bigger sizes of these, so you could use them as highlight and whatever as well. And I think I might have to treat myself. I've not bought any makeup for at least a month, and I haven't bought much at all this year. I intend to do a bit of a bring you up to date with my low buyers. The next video I do, I think I'll do a bit more of just a chatty one rather than applying makeup, and just show you all the things that I've bought so far, because it's been 4 months now that I've been on the low buy, but also the things that have been tempting me that I nearly bought that are kind of on my wish list, and then when we get to the end of the year we can see how that went, whether I ended up buying them. Right, that's the eye look to this point. I really like how it's looking. It's still quite dramatic, but it's very summery, very pretty. I am going to add some glitter in a bit, but I'm going to hop off camera for wing liner, just a black liner, probably the NYX Epic Ink, some mascara and a lip, and I think I might wear a red lip today, because why not? Because that's my favourite colour and I haven't worn a red lip in a long time. So I'll be back with you to show you that, and then we'll apply a bit of glitter and finish the look and wrap up the video together. Okay guys, so here's the look with mascara and eyeliner and a lip. I've gone in with Dose of Colours Extra Saucy. I just thought if you're going in with a red, an extra saucy red is the way to go. I love this red, it's such a good one. It's kind of got that pinkiness to it. It's a beautiful deep red, but still a summer red. I love it. Okay, I think we need to add that glitter now, because I don't want to disappoint Jane. She said break out the glitter. We're going to do so. So we've got a couple of options in here. I think I might just mix these two. They're so pretty. We've got Creative and Psychosis. What a name that is. Psychosis has got a bit of kind of greeny goldy sparkle. Actually, that might be the one. Don't know how to apply it, but we're going to apply it on this outer kind of portion here. Just going to press it on so it's kind of underneath my eyeliner, but not too close to my eyes, but that you can still see that I've got some glitter shininess going on. This one would be a great one for a festival look, I think, if that ever becomes a thing again. I love going to live gigs, so I really hope we get to do it again. It's kind of got a tackiness to this, and it's not spreading out too much, but it is sticking and it is really pretty. Should we try a bit of Deception as well? That's the pinky one. Why not? In for a penny. Let's just add a little bit of that one in as well. Oh, that one's pretty. I've got a rainbow of sparkles going on now. Oh, I like it. It's almost like taking my eyes into my highlight. Don't want it to go all over my eyeliner though. But yeah, it's kind of pretty. To get it a bit higher on that side, I think. But yeah, I feel super sparkly now, and I think that's gonna catch the light really pretty. So this is the finished look, and I'd forgotten how much that makeup is therapeutic for me. Like, I sometimes think of it as like, oh, it's another chore to film a video. And sometimes it is nice just to do your makeup for yourself, but I've really enjoyed just chatting to you guys. I hope I haven't come across too like low and depressed, because I'm not anymore. I've really come out of my funk, but I do think it's important to share these things with you. You've kind of become my friends. You know, a lot of you I chat to in the comments, or I know you, you know, because you're YouTubers, and yeah, I'd want to know if any of you were feeling down. I'd want to be there for you, and I'd want to know. So I hope sharing a little bit of it with you kind of makes you feel like if you're feeling that way right now that you're not alone, but also that it's a temporary state, you know, and that you do start to feel better. None of us feel terrible forever. This too shall pass is the way to think of it. And yeah, just don't compare yourself to everyone else and how they are right now, because that just brings compare and despair. You know, just you're on your own kind of trajectory, and if you're feeling low, let yourself follow in it for a bit but not too long, and find your way out of it. And that's what I've tried to do. So happy to be back. Hope to get on some sort of schedule where I can give you some content, but I don't want to put pressure on myself to do so and then feel like I let you down, because that is how I've felt over the last 2 or 3 weeks. That, you know, it's an added pressure to sort of feel like you guys are waiting for my videos. I know a lot of you love my content, you've told me, and I've got a loyal following. Although it's not a big following, I really appreciate every one of you. And I know if there's somebody that I follow that I really look forward to their videos, if they don't post, I'm kind of like, where are they? I'm kind of sad they haven't. I don't want to be flaky and not be posting, but I do have to look after myself too, and I think we all have to find a way to do that. So hope you can be understanding about that. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I really hope whatever you guys are going through, because this has been, well, it's been a time, hasn't it? We've never been through anything like this past year, and I think even those of us that really haven't suffered with any sort of mental health issues or mental illness are finding this tough. So take care of yourselves. I hope you're feeling better than I've been, and I hope you're keeping safe and well and healthy. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye guys.